Okay. Um, so it's, the next one here says, how are the possibilities different if the tiles spell Saskatoon? So same question, just different letters. Um, so, so in this case, we have 9 different letters. So it'll be 9 factorial over how many repeat? Well, the S is repeat. Their A's repeat and the O's repeat. So it looks like the S's will be 2 factorial. The A's will count for 2 factorial, and the O's will count for 2 factorial, which is equal to 45,360. So there's only, and then so that's the total number, right? So total, that's going to go on the bottom. Um, and again, there's only one way to make this word. So we're going to say that that would be 1 over 45,360. So probability is definitely better of picking this out than the word Saskatchewan, simply because there's less letters, right? 9 factorial ends up being quite a lot smaller than 12 factorial, like there was in um, Saskatchewan. So there are 18 exercise bikes in 3 rows of 6 bikes each. Allison, Brett, Carol, Doug, Erica, and Franco each call the gym to reserve a bike. What is the probability they will all be in the same row with Allison on one end and Franco on the other? So here's 2 possible solutions below, and let's explain each one. So I've drawn out each spot for the 18 bikes. So there's 3 rows and 6 across, right? So the way we can explain this top one is if we just kind of think about it here. So we've got we're on the top again. There's Allison on one end, Franco on the other. So if we look at either end of this thing, if we look at the end first, there's 2 ways for either Allison or Franco to be here. And then at the other end, there's only one way because we've already chosen it. Then if we look to the inside in this row, then there would be 4 ways for one of the other friends to be there, and then 3, and then 2, and then 1. Okay, so these people could be in the first row like this, or the second, or the third. So that's where our 3 comes in. Um, but just one more minute. So if we did that, and then if we look down below here and we think about everybody else, well, in this spot there'd be 12 because that's everybody else, right? 12 ways that somebody could be there. Then 11, then 10, then 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So 12 factorial ways, really. So if we're looking at the total favorable outcomes on the top, and then total possible outcomes on the bottom, the top here, I'm going to have to erase this or maybe move down. Okay. Um, so this part here, so 3, that accounts for there being either the top row, the second row, or the third row. So that's where the 3 comes in. This 2p2, well, that's the same thing as saying 2 factorial, and that comes from our 2 ends, right? There was 2 factorial ways that Franco and Allison could be, so that's where that comes from. The 4p4, well, that's the same as saying 4 factorial, right? And that's everybody else. That's everybody in the middle. That's right here. There's 4 factorial ways for that to happen. And then 12p12, well, that's everybody else. That's the bottom. And there are 12 factorial ways for them to be arranged. So the top there, that's the same as what I have up here. That's all our favorable outcomes. That's the total possible ways that they could be arranged like that. And then over we have 18p18. Well, that's if we just count everybody, total possible outcomes, that's just 18 factorial. So this does work, right? And what that is, ends up being 1 over 92,820. All right, so that's how that one works. This one is going to be similar, but the 3 still comes from the same place because we're going to say they could be in that row, that one, or that one. So that's where the 3 comes in. The 2 comes in for the same thing. The 2 is going to come in for Franco and Allison, so the 2 people on the end, because 2 is the same thing as 2 factorial, so it's the same thing as that one was in that equation. And then 4p4, well, that's the same thing as these guys in that part. So here, I'll write it over here too. So 2 and 1, that's where that comes from. 4p4 comes from, this could be 4, 3, 2, 1. So 4 factorial, right, from there to there. The difference here now, though, is that over the bottom, total number of outcomes, it's 18p6. So instead of having 18p18 like we did there, like 18 factorial, all we're going to do is kind of ignore the bottom, ignore all those ones, and we're only choosing 6. So 18 people, we're only choosing 6. And we didn't have to multiply that by 12 factorial on the top anymore because we don't care about those people on the bottom. So that's how that one works. So this would also be the same as writing 3 times 2 times 4 factorial over 18p6. Okay, so that's how you explain those two and you end up with the same answer. Okay, I'll see you guys in class.